It's gonna be.
I know today, no matter what is happening, things will all go my way. I see heaven and I don't have to wait for you to recognize that love resides in this place. Why not listen ahead? Why you making that face? You be tripping, so thinking about something different. Listen ahead. Why you making that face? Just relax a bit, ain't no accidents. It's just all for the love.
Heaven high, everybody. Welcome. Heaven high, everybody. I tell you what, I am really multitasking tonight, but I'm excited because God has been telling me that I'm supposed to read my book, and I haven't done it. But tonight, I'm going to do it. I want to share a piece of myself and my testimony. So there's no rhyme or reason to how we do this because I've never done it before. I just feel in my spirit that this is what I'm supposed to do. So are you ready to start? Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you like and share with somebody. Okay, so this was the toughest time that I've had in my life, right? On the back of the book, I say, family members gently explain. We don't ask why, Tangie. There are some things we just don't understand. Some folks mumbled, we don't know God's ways. A few even whispered, there was probably something wrong with the baby. No, I said, I saw her. She was perfect. I needed to know why God took my baby. So I kept asking. For months, I kept asking, believing God would answer me because I had to know. I was fighting for my life. And then it says, and this is how y'all know me, Tangie Ambrose is known for the positive energy she shares with the world. But her optimism was shattered by the stillbirth of her daughter, Pebbles. Having had such a close and personal relationship with God, Tangie just couldn't understand why God would take her baby, so she kept asking why. In a branch with no leaves, Tangie shares the signs which led her back to faith and the beautiful answer she was given. So if you've experienced the loss of a child or are facing other difficult challenges, A Branch with No Leaves by me, Tangie Ambrose, offers a path to inspiration, healing, and true peace. So y'all buckle up and get ready because I think it's so important that I share this story with the world because everybody who's read it has told me that they've been blessed by it. And after you hear it, you can tell me too. It says, you pave the road with pebbles, you build the house with rock, and you decorate with stone. Are y'all ready? Now, remember, this was, how old is my son? He's 20. So this was like 21 years ago. My preface. I have had a lot of successes in life. So many, in fact, I always thought of myself as being blessed. I felt very connected to my angels and I could find the good in anything. But when I had my stillborn, I was confused. I didn't understand how God could do that to me. In my deepest pain, I hurt even more because I had nowhere to turn. I couldn't go to my angels. It was a struggle to pray. I felt hurt, I felt angry, and I felt betrayed by them, by God. How could you do this to me? This is Tangie. Me, we're team players. I do good when nobody's looking. Why did you take my baby? Why? I said. And family members said, we don't ask why. Some things we just don't understand. I said, but I saw her. She was perfect. And I needed to know why. I was fighting for my life. My mother always taught me to love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, and body. She would say, Tangie, God is good. God is love, and God loves you. I believed her. I expected God to take care of me. My mother was from North Carolina. Her family was Pentecostal. They were loving, honest, and caring people. Now, I'm not sure how it is today, but back when I was a little girl and the Pentecostal religion, there were certain things we just weren't supposed to do. It was a sin to cuss, a sin to drink, play cards, sit anything on the Bible, and you most certainly did not say the Lord's name in vain. And I ain't do none of those things. Women weren't supposed to wear pants. There was no dancing, no listening to secular music. Do y'all even know what secular music is? See, you got to be reared in that type of family to even understand that. Secular music is anything that's non-gospel. We weren't allowed to listen to that. No wearing sexy clothes, no dyeing your hair bright colors, no red lipstick or bright fingernail polish. Basically, don't attract too much attention to yourself. Well, my mother and I have always seemed to attract attention. When I was younger, she wore false eyelashes and she made her face up to perfection. And she liked red lipstick and sexy clothes. And when I got old enough, y'all don't see me on Instagram. I do too. Oh, I like being half naked. My mother had a beauty salon, so we played a lot with makeup and explored all different colors and styles with our hair and our clothes. We would have fabulous It's Electric hair and fashion shows, and we played music, all music. When I met my daddy's family in New Orleans, I was amazed because guess what? They loved God too. They were loving and honest and caring, and they went to church regularly, just like my mother's side of the family, but they also drank. They used cuss words, they played cards, and they partied to all different types of music. Now, my mother and I loved it. No judgment, just facts. Side note, I like to hear people cuss. It sounds like music. You know, some people can do it really good. I can't. While studying the history of religion at Spelman College, I learned about other societies and I saw how man formed religion. I saw how religions borrowed from other cultures and it made me uneasy. I loved God. I could never let that go. However, I decided to let go of rules and religions. I wanted my own personal relationship with God. What was possible if I had never seen a Bible or heard a sermon? I was determined to find out. So guess what I did? I stopped reading the Bible. I stopped going to church. I even said out loud, Jesus, I love you. But God, I need you to speak directly to me. As Jesus said, I can do all the things that he did. So you need to talk to me. Can you believe I said that? I did. And I started on a new journey. I started praying. I started studying. I started listening to that still small voice inside of me. And guess what happened? My relationship with God became even more personal and God took care of me. Eventually, I moved to LA and found Reverend Della Reese's church. Reverend Della Reese led Understanding Principles for Better Living, also known as Up Church. Yep. When I moved to LA after I graduated from Spelman, I went back to church. I was in a new city. I didn't know anybody. I needed a home base. But the difference at Up was that I was taught the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. Now, metaphysically, the Bible was in agreement with everything I was learning on my own. Reverend Mack, my instructor at Up, taught me to look beyond the literal details of a particular scripture in order to understand the deeper spiritual meaning underlining everything. Side note, I found when you do that, all of it makes so much more sense. Y'all see my daughter trying to run by and hide like she's invisible. Like you're not going to see her. Act like you didn't see her. We love you, baby. Through understanding principles, I learned the Bible was every man's story, no matter what religion you are, or even if you're not. God loves us all. Some people don't call him God. They call him love, the universe, source, ancestors. To me, it's God. Okay, listen. So I was like, if God loved me, why did he take my baby? Now, this was the first time in my life I had ever questioned God's love for me. Was everything I believed a lie? My whole existence was in question. I was known for my smile, my energy, my joy. all of that was gone. I was dark, y'all. I was heavy. I was a shadow of myself. Before my stillborn, I coached other people on how to live happy lives. I told them all things work together for good. I taught them to look for the good. If they couldn't find it, I would help them. Because we know I could find the good in anything. So, where was the good in my baby being born stillborn? The only blessing I could see thus far was that I hadn't thought to kill myself. That's what kind of pain I was in. And I was proud of me for that. God truly does answer prayers. We should never be afraid to ask for anything. It took 6 months of asking before I heard my answer. And once I did, my light came back. I could breathe again. I felt alive. I could hear that still small voice inside. I am blessed. I was chosen for this purpose, and God does love me. If you have had a miscarriage or stillbirth, I want you to know that you are also blessed and chosen. It's hard in the midst of our pain, frustration, and anger to see the light, but the light is always there. My prayer is that the signs and synchronicities in my story open you up to a whole new way of thinking so you can find your blessing. If you're going through something, you aren't cursed. You weren't being punished. You're not a bad person. You didn't do anything wrong. You are loved, and God can handle your questions. The answers may come in a dream, from a book, a TV show, a video, a play, a poster, a movie, a conversation with a friend. It could come in a myriad of ways. But stay open, y'all. Look beyond the physical. And once you get the answers you seek, you will truly feel the peace that surpasses all understanding. Because I have always had such a personal relationship with God and my angels, they are all throughout my story. And I hope A Branch with No Leaves opens you up so that you can look at your life with different eyes, because I just bet your angels are talking to you too. Blessings. Okay, y'all, are you ready? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Chapter 1, Divine Expectation. For as long as I can remember, I knew I was going to have children. I felt it. I wanted a boy and a girl, and I had always dreamt about having an older brother, so I wanted my son to come first. And when I got in my 30s, the feelings started washing over me that now was the time. The problem was I wasn't in a relationship. While attending Upchurch in Los Angeles, I heard Reverend Della speak about being specific when asking God for what we want. So I got specific and I started praying for my man. At night before I would go to sleep, I would say, God, please, please bring me my king. I know he's somewhere scared, just like I am. Please prepare us for each other. Help him find me. In August of 1999, my sister friend, Debbie Capric, invited me to a fight party. We were going to watch Mike Tyson fight Bruce Seldon. Mike beat him so fast, the fight was over in the blink of an eye. But it was in good company, so we all stayed and had a good time. I was standing around talking, munching on deviled eggs, and in walked this brother. He was tall, dark, strikingly handsome, confident. He had long locks, thick 70s sideburns, and he was wearing blue jean overalls with no shirt, perfectly highlighting his thick, hairy chest. I was mesmerized. I quickly asked the other girls at the party, is he yours? Is he yours? Is he yours? Nobody claimed him. I looked across the room at him, and in a very cute and confident way with a mischievous smile on my face, I said, definitely to myself, but also to anyone else in earshot, that's my baby daddy. I just knew it, y'all. Every once in a while, I'll meet someone and feel like we've met before, or I'll see a person and know in my spirit we're supposed to be friends. It was the latter with him, except instead of thinking friends, everything in me felt like he was mine. So I scurried to the bathroom, fluffed up my locks, tucked in my shirt so he could see how small my waist was, applied my fresh lipstick, and then I walked out into the bathroom and right into him. He and his friends were sitting on the floor and they were laughing and talking loudly. Now, I had planned to simply walk by so he could see how cute I was. But just as I got in front of him, I heard him say, Tangie. As I sank to the floor, I looked at him and thought, how does this king know my name? He reminded me. Back in 1994, we had been cast as a couple to audition for a McDonald's commercial. I was excited about being paired with him because he was handsome. He had a great smile and he was sexy while still being clean cut, and his energy felt so good. And when the casting director started filming, that joker stuck his tongue down my throat. I couldn't believe it. He kissed me. You don't do that at auditions. We were acting like a couple, though, so I responded like it was normal. But inside, I was swirling. This was an audition, and the kiss felt right and wrong at the same time. I didn't know this man, but I felt like I did. He felt like he was home. And even though he was a stranger, I liked him. We had chemistry. Apparently, he liked me too, because after the audition, neither of us hurried away. We stood outside for a long time. He didn't kiss me again. We didn't exchange numbers. We didn't even talk. We just stood outside the casting office, breathing each other in. And then we each went our separate ways. We didn't know it at the time, but both of us were going through situations with other people. We thought we were going to book the commercials and we would see each other again on set. We didn't. Years went by. This was that same brother. He remembered me. I remembered him too. I just didn't know he was the same guy I remembered. His locks had grown so long and he was looking all clean cut at the audition, but here he was dressed to party, sexy. Our love affair was a whirlwind. I went from praying, studying, and listening to that still small voice inside to partying, cooking, and making love. My baby daddy partied like my daddy's family, although baby daddy might have been a bit bolder. Baby daddy. That's what I called him from the moment we started seeing each other. He liked it as much as I did. It was his love language. I felt very comfortable with him, and even today, that's his special name. I don't even remember how it started. I just know all of this was a foreshadowing. It was meant to be. Baby Daddy was the best DJ I'd ever heard. He could DJ anything from a bar mitzvah to a quinceanera to a rock concert to funk soul wedding. He loved music and he played it all. He talked junk when he was DJing. He talked smack when he was playing cards, dominoes, or drinking. He always spoke his mind. He loved my cooking, and he got a kick out of my paint parties and all of my spiritual things that I did. He didn't like for me to drink, and he always wanted me looking cute and sexy. And on top of all that, he told me he used to sing in the church choir. What? I was in love, y'all. My spirit felt good with him. He didn't want to be in a relationship, though. He told me many times, I ain't got time for no relationship. You don't have time for it either. You're on your show. You're doing your thing. Stop thinking about that, Tangie. Live. I just booked a TV show, series regular role on a show called Abby. And I would often talk to Sydney Portier, my sister on the show, about how much I wanted children. Guess what? He didn't want those either. He was adamant about that too. We would have long discussions. He would say, Tangie, we good looking. We can travel. We don't have to have kids. Why do you want to tie yourself down? But with my lips pursed, I thought to myself, I'm having my babies. I felt them before he found me. I knew they were waiting for me to get with whomever they had chosen as their father so they could jump in my crown. I loved him, but he kept saying no. So maybe he wasn't the one. Finally, I listened. I looked him directly in those beautiful, deep set eyes I got so easily lost in. And I said, you don't want children? Fine. You need to get on then so I can meet somebody else, fall in love, and have me some babies. He wouldn't go. Chapter 2, God ain't tripping. We were not officially a couple yet. We spent so much time together, we might as well been. Most nights he was at my house or I was at his. This particular living evening, I was home alone in my bedroom. And let me tell you, now I have had a lot of people visit me in dreams after they have passed. This was not a dream, it was a vision. I call it a vision because I wasn't asleep, but I wasn't awake either. I wasn't even dreaming. It felt like an alternative version of a very familiar word. And if I had to describe it, I would say I was in another dimension. Now, in my vision, I was sitting at the table playing cards, laughing and drinking with my daddy's people in what looked like my Aunt Louise's kitchen. There was a knock at the door, the phone rang, and the doorbell. I got up to answer the phone, and the back door opened. All of these flowers started coming in for me: roses, daisies, lilies, daffodils, sunflower, tulips, lotuses, birds of paradise. Every flower you can imagine just kept coming and coming and coming. And I had answered the phone and I was stunned. And on the phone, I said, "Why are all these flowers coming for me? It's not my birthday." And then I turned to the left and that door opened. And there was this platter, and it was a rich color. It wasn't silver, it wasn't gold, but it was a color that I had never seen before. It was a color out of this world. I haven't even seen that color since. It was absolutely beautiful, and it felt good just to look at it. And on the platter was a branch with no leaves. And I could tell that it was being presented to me like a gift. While still facing that direction, I looked to my left again, and standing in front of two large windows near the front door was my Aunt Dear and my Uncle Sonny. Now, both of them had died in their 70s, but here they were standing right in front of me, and they were glowing, and they looked so healthy and young and fit, and their energy felt so good. The feeling, the best way that I can describe the feeling that I got from them was it was like an orgasm 150 times over, and it was so good that it was paralyzed, and I was balled up on the floor with tears in my eyes, and I couldn't move. And when my Aunt Dear was alive, she was a really good huggable size. Here she was fit like a Marilyn Monroe size 10. And my Uncle Sonny had been an alcoholic, and he was really skinny, but here in my vision, he was thick, and his face was so handsome and chiseled, and he looked so strong, and I could see his sculpted jawline, and he was smiling at me. And the suit that he was wearing was all white, and on it was the most amazingly beautiful embroidery I had ever seen in my life. Everything that I looked at was so beautiful. Everything felt good. And Dear, my aunt, had on a long, lovely white dress, and it flared out at the bottom. And her dress had the same exquisite white embroidery. And when she was alive, she had a curl in her hair, and the curl used to fall in the back around the sides of her face. But here, her hair was pressed straight, and it was gleaming, and it was in one of those styles that they used to have back in the 1940s, all twisted up. And I could see how pretty her face was, and her eyes and her cheekbones and her lips, and she looked so beautiful. And she was smiling too. And if I had to pick an age, I would guess both of them to be in their 30s. And even though I could see that they were brown, and I'm jumping. I'm telling y'all, let me get back and read. Looking at them, I could see that they were brown. I could see they were wearing all white. I saw the beautiful embroidery on their white outfits. And I don't remember any angel wings or anything like that, but they were glowing, and I could see right straight through both of them. Out the front door, there was a large picture window behind them, and I could clearly see all the way to the street, and they felt like love. And I was so filled with pure love just by being in their presence that I wanted to get up and call my mother or my Aunt Louise so they could feel what I was feeling right there. But even though Dear didn't open her mouth, I heard her say, if I got up, she would have to go. So I didn't move. I just laid there, basking in the love. And then my Aunt Dear kicked up her leg. And when she kicked up her leg, I saw that my aunt had on pants. It wasn't a dress. My Aunt Dear was Pentecostal. She was my mother's eldest sister. She was a devout Christian. When she was alive, Dear would have never worn pants. The least I had ever seen her wearing was a bra, panties, stockings, girdle, slip, never less than that. And here was my aunt wearing pants. She never opened her mouth to speak. It was like the words just flew into my brain. But when she kicked up her leg in my mind, I heard, God ain't tripping. And I thought, what? I was in shock. Dear has on pants. God ain't tripping. And that's when I moved to call my mother, and the vision went away. I was back in my room, still laying on the floor, feeling an immense amount of love, shocked that my aunt said God ain't tripping, and wondering why they presented me with a branch with no leaves. What did I just experience? What was she trying to tell me? When Dear was alive, she'd say, don't take no wooden nickels, baby, because you can't spend them. But she was an angel. If she was trying to tell me that this man wasn't for me, she could have just shown me what wooden nickels. But instead, she showed me a branch with no leaves. Why? And in the vision, I was drinking and playing cards with my daddy's people. God ain't tripping. God ain't tripping. Before chapter 3, let me tell you, when my aunt passed, my aunt loved all of us, all the kids in the family. And when she passed, she came to a lot of us, not like different ways, not like see-through like she came to me as an angel, but she came to me too, wearing her little blue dress with her belt and her hat. If I can find the pictures, I'll add it to this video or some video, I don't know. But even talking about it, I can feel the feeling. Anyway, okay. Chapter 3, write down your dreams. I saw my baby daddy's soul. He was caring. He was great with children and animals, but he was also insistent about not having children. He was as insistent about not having them as I was about having them. His friends told me he had always been this way. I needed to figure out a way to relax him because I needed him to want our babies too. So I started walking through the house, talking to our unborn children. I would say out loud, go to your father. Let him know it's going to be okay. I can tell he's just afraid. Help him see how wonderful it is to have babies. I had no idea our unborn daughter was actually listening. I just knew I was supposed to have children. And since I believe souls choose their parents, I thought maybe my babies could help me from the other side. You can imagine my surprise that next morning when baby daddy woke up from a dream, breathing hard with shock in his eyes. He turned to me and said, I just saw our daughter. She was looking at me with your eyes and she was saying, you will not deny me. I'm going to name her Pebbles. I kept my excitement down and I calmly said to him, baby, you can't name the child Pebbles. What's she going to be, a stripper? He looked directly at me and very pointedly said, I'm naming her Pebbles. I was overjoyed. He had just said he was naming our daughter, Pebbles. He wanted a baby. Baby girl did like I asked. She went to him in his dreams. I was so happy. I didn't say anything to him, though. I couldn't tell the man I was walking through the house talking to our unborn children. He'd have thought I was crazy. Wouldn't you? You might. I don't know. But secretly, I said, yes, baby girl, yes. And then a week later, I had a dream. And in my dream, I had gone to visit my aunt at the hospital. And I was stealing this baby boy. He was about 3 years old. He had on a shirt with no pants and the cutest little rump. And he was just crawling all over me because he loved me so much. And I knew he was mine, even though I hadn't paid for him yet, because he still had the price tag attached to his toes. He was so happy to be with me. And the people who were guarding the babies, they were watching us walk out, but they didn't stop us because we looked like we belonged together. So I carried my son outside, and it was a bright and sunny day. So sunny, in fact, that I couldn't find the car. So I looked, I didn't see it. I turned around to bring my son back in. And when we got to the door, this little boy standing at the door looked up at him and said, "Yo, man, what you doing back?" And my son happily responded, "She'll be back to get me later. She couldn't find the car." And I woke up crying. God, I thank you. I'm going to have a baby boy. Chapter 4. Pain is pain is pain. When I got pregnant, I knew it was my girl because my dream of her came first. So when people looked at my belly and they would say, "Tangie, you carrying that baby low. I think that's a boy." I would simply smile and say, "Nope, it's a girl." I loved being pregnant. The first 3 months of my pregnant were wonderful. No morning sickness or anything. And baby daddy was still, "Baby, you don't have to do this. It's not too late to change your mind." With fierce determination, I would whisper, "I'm keeping my baby." And although he said, "You still have time to change your mind," he was excited too. He was getting the house painted for us, and I didn't even want him to. I wanted to paint it myself. He even sent me to a hotel so I didn't inhale the fumes. And of course, to me, I registered that as he cared. When I started moving into the 4th month, I started experiencing excruciating pain. On a scale from 1 to 10, that pain was like a 72. And sometimes my stomach hurt so bad, I couldn't move. I would be balled up on the floor crying. But I had never had a baby before, and I didn't know how it was supposed to feel. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that I had seen pregnant women whining and complaining, and I didn't want to be like them. So I tried to bear the pain. Did you know that intense pain and intense pleasure are both paralyzing? Each time I was balled up in a knot on the floor with tears in my eyes. And one day it was so bad, I called my doctor at Cedar Sinai and I told her what I was feeling. And she said over the phone, without even checking me, I had the stomach flu. She didn't need me to come in. That felt wrong to me. So I fired her. I started scouring the internet looking for midwives. After my experience with the last doctor, I was hesitant about working with another. I wanted someone who made me feel like they cared. I found the All Natural Women's Birthing Center. The lady who ran the facility was a certified midwife with big expressive eyes and a lot of high energy. She delivered home births, but she didn't go to people's homes. They came to the center. That way the new mom could have the home birth and the midwife could have all her necessary tools as well. So baby daddy and I visited her office. We thought she was cool. We signed up. I was 38 at the time. Having a baby age 35 and over is considered high risk. She told me she had a high-risk doctor she liked working with and she wanted me to meet him. Fine, I said, okay. His name was Dr. Waleed Dewani. I loved him. When we went to see Dr. Dewani for the first time after he checked me, he looked directly in my eyes and he said, "Tangie, you want to have this baby at home, right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I want you to too. So you call me. You call me if you have any pain. Don't wait and say it was the weekend or a holiday or I didn't want to bother you. You call me right then, okay?" Weakly, I nodded and I said, "Okay." Funny thing was, after I saw Dr. Dewani, the pain seemed to get better. On a scale from 1 to 10, now it was about an 8. It wasn't even really pain. It was more like pressure. I thought I could handle this. I breathed through my discomfort. I didn't call. Okay, y'all forgive me. I haven't read this book in a long time. And we family, so whatever happens, happens. Chapter 5, hallowed be thy name. Okay. January 5th, my sister friend Jules took me out to lunch. I was exactly 5 months pregnant, sitting at an outdoor restaurant in North Hollywood, smiling and holding my stomach, talking to my baby girl. And Jules turned the camera on me, and I said aloud while rubbing my baby, my belly, I said, "Oh, baby girl, mommy loves you so much. But I sure would be glad when you get here because you are hurting mommy." And baby girl must have been flitting around listening, because later that evening after I got home, baby daddy was on his keyboard creating a song he called The Baby Blues. And I was under the covers rubbing my stomach and talking to my sweet baby girl. I was teaching her how to pray because I didn't want her to recite prayers really fast, just saying the words. I wanted her to know what the words meant to me. So while under the covers, I gently whispered, "This is how I pray. Our Father, who art in heaven." Now, in my mind, heaven is not some faraway place. It's a state of mind. No matter what's happening, no matter where we are, we always have the power to choose our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. We can think negative thoughts about a situation and make ourselves feel worse, which would create our own personal hell. Or we could search for the good and find it, creating our own personal heaven. I believe God, our Father, is everywhere evenly present. That means there is no place where God is not, and we always have access to that heavenly feeling. Hallowed be thy name. I call God by many names. You might hear your mommy say my highest divine self. I might say angels, the universe, love, my invisible friends, that still small voice inside, the powers that be, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, Jehovah, and so on. Whatever we choose to call him, her, it, them, they, depends on how we have been reared. Wars have been fought over what name should be used. That's foolish, baby girl. Listen, I can call my mother, your grandmother, Tutu, Mother, Betty, Evelina, Miss Ambrose, Miss Brown, whatever I want. I'm her baby. She loves me. She knows my voice. No matter what I call her, she always answers. No matter what we call God, he always answers too. We respect and honor other people's choices. Hallowed, whole, perfect, and complete be thy name. Thy kingdom come. I know God's will for me is absolute good. So when I say thy kingdom come, I'm saying, God, use me. I want to be in alignment with the highest divine good you have for my life. Talk to me. Help me hear you so I can do what it is you would have me do. Help me be how you would want me to be and have all that's destined for me to have. Let thy kingdom of absolute good come to me now. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, before we are born and even when we die is the easiest way, I believe, for us to experience heaven. Without the shell of these bodies, we are truly one with God, and there's no ego, no pain, no discomfort, just immense love, understanding, and a knowing that all is well. Now, it's possible to have that feeling while we're still in these bodies. So when I say thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, I'm saying, God, please help me face all my earthly challenges with love, faith, and a knowing that no matter what it looks like, all is well. Give us this day our daily bread. Sometimes life can get hard. It's during those times when I try to stay in the moment. I walk through the house saying, God, I'm open to receive it. But I'm not asking for what I need next week, next month, next year, even tomorrow. Right now, I'm asking for what I need today. Bread is sustenance. It can manifest as food, money, insight, shelter, love, clothing, work, anything. Please, God, give me what I need right now. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We all make mistakes. If you want to be forgiven for yours, you must forgive others for the ones they make. Always remember, there's a lesson and or a blessing in every situation. Leave us not into temptation. Pebbles, I believe God loves us and would not put us any place where he wouldn't want to keep us. So I'm never pray saying, lead us not into temptation. When we think thoughts that are not in alignment with what God has for us, we lead ourselves into temptation, trouble. Don't be afraid to ask him to help you out. No matter what you have done, you can always pray, leave us not into temptation. I got myself in this. God, help me get out, but deliver us from evil. First of all, your mommy doesn't believe in evil. You already know I believe that God is everywhere evenly present. And if God is everywhere evenly present, there can be no place where he is not. That's why I know all things work together for good. Even the quote unquote bad things that happen for good. So when I pray this part, I'm saying, deliver me from the negative, low vibrational thoughts I have been thinking that have been causing me pain. Help me get my mind right. I want the peace that surpasses all understanding in the midst of my storm. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Now, for me, this means God created everything. God has the power. I just need to listen, have faith, and do what that still small voice tells me to do. So I give God the glory in advance, knowing whatever it is, it's already done. Amen. Amen is your closing. You can say amen, ashe, om, shanti, thank you, Father, whatever you choose. It all basically means, and so it is, and so we'll let it be. Chapter 6, we will have a family. The next morning, January 5th, my belly felt heavy. I wasn't in pain. I was just uncomfortable. She was so low, she felt like she could fall out. And I was having contractions. I didn't even realize it. When my stomach would tighten up around her, I thought she was kicking because I would see, the lump or whatever. I called baby daddy in so he could feel it. And he would lay his hands on my belly again and it would tighten up. I'd never had a baby before. I thought that was normal. I told baby daddy I was going to soak in the tub. I said, Pebbles feels heavy. Seemed like the water would make her feel lighter. So I rolled over to my left side, pushed myself up, climbed out of bed, and took my time waddling to the bathroom. I carefully got down on my knees and turned on the bath water. Then I sat on the toilet to rest while the tub filled up. Next thing I know, water just started gushing out of me. I screamed. Then I laid on the floor with my feet up in the air, holding my vagina tight because I was trying to hold the water in. And baby daddy came running. He telephoned the midwife and I was just screaming, my water broke, my water broke. What am I going to do? I don't want to lose my baby. And she yelled at me on the phone, Tangie, I need you to calm down. If you go into the hospital screaming like this, they will take the baby. At 20 weeks, the baby isn't strong enough to survive outside the womb. They will give you a C-section. We do not want them to take the baby. We want to try to keep the baby. Calm down. I stopped screaming. Slowly, he helped me up. In a daze, I put on this long sweater dress. I got me a towel and I put it between my legs to catch the blood. He helped me into his truck and drove us to the hospital. Neither of us said a word the entire time. Not the hospital. We went to my high-risk doctor's office. It was the longest drive. It seemed like it was just us on the road. The entire world stopped. And he and I were the only two people alive on the planet. When we got to the hospital, he slowly helped me out of the truck. And I was bleeding all the way there, so the towel was filled with blood, soaked, and still under the dress between my legs. We walked in the doctor's office, and the receptionist smiled and said, "Hi, may I help you?" And I just held up the towel. She rushed us into a room. They did a sonogram really quickly. Baby daddy said, wait, I didn't get a chance to see that. Dr. Dewani said, I didn't want her to see it. Hesitantly, he turned it on again. I didn't look. I was looking at the nurse. Her belly was right beside me, and she was 5 months pregnant too. And I laid my hand on her belly and whispered, God bless your baby. Dr. Dewani asked if we wanted an epidural. We both said no. I heard him say under his breath, a woman shouldn't have to feel this much pain. I went back to asking, is my baby okay? Is my baby okay? I wanted my baby to be okay. I felt something move between my legs. And when the nurse and doctor walked out the examination room, I asked my baby daddy, I said, did they put anything inside me? He looked between my legs and he said, no. They rushed us to the hospital across the street and then left us alone in our hospital room. I was in my bed trying to stay calm and calling my mother. He was pacing. The midwife sent someone over. She showed him, my baby daddy, how to hit my pressure points to help relieve the pain. 3 hours later at the hospital, Pebbles Uriel Edwards was born. She was breech. That's what I felt in the examination room, her little foot. Baby girl was stepping out. She had been with us for 5 months and 1 day. They didn't give us a birth certificate, only a death certificate. She was stillborn. Baby daddy held her in his arms. He used to say babies were ugly, but he looked at her and said she was beautiful. I said, should I look? He said, yeah. He handed her to me. She was beautiful. She was perfect. She had 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, ears, all her little fingers and toes. Everything about her was perfect. And I did what I always did. I went to my feel-good place and started thanking God for the good. I said, God, I thank you for my baby girl. I thank you for letting me get pregnant. Thank you for letting me give birth to Pebbles. I thank you that she is perfect. I thank you that her little soul came and now her little soul is back with you. I was thanking God for everything I could think of that was good. The hospital sent some people to our room to comfort us and make sure we were okay. They call these people grief support. They look so sad. And the lady's voice sounded even sadder. She said, I'm so sorry, sighed the lady. Then she asked woefully, how are you doing? I felt her pain. So I started trying to cheer her up. I'm fine. It's all right. This was meant to happen. Everything is going to be okay. I was saying things I wanted to believe. I was trying to make them feel better. I don't think the lady ever felt good, but they finally did leave my room. The pain, it was there. I just didn't know how to feel it. And then I started to lose my mind. I started singing nursery rhymes and they all blended together. I didn't do it on purpose and I couldn't stop and I wasn't even conscious that it was happening. Once upon a time, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. The line broke, the monkey got choked. They all went to heaven on a little green boat. Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black, black, with silver buttons, buttons all down her back. Back, she asked her mother, for 15 cents to see an elephant, go jump the fence. Miss Lucy had a baby. She named him Tiny Tim. She put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had some Tangie. I don't know how long the midwife had been calling my name, but I finally heard her. Tangie, do you see the wall? As the wall slowly came into focus, still in the haze, I replied, yes, I see the wall. What color is the wall? She asked with urgency. I had to discern the color. It was light green. My reply was void of emotion, though. It's green. Tangie, do you see the trash can? Slowly, my head turned and my eyes found the trash can. Yes, I see the trash can. What color is the trash can? With very little energy, I answered, it's beige. Tangie, do you see your husband's hair? Although we never married, my eyes turned toward baby daddy, and I saw that his eyes were focused on me too. Still in a slight daze, I answered her, he has a lot of hair. I was back. I didn't know where I had gone, but I know I left my body for a time. I couldn't handle the pain, and now I was back in it. I laid there, feeling, not feeling, thinking, not thinking, but present. After a while, I realized my man wasn't in the room. Where'd he go? He had been so attentive. Why did he leave? It seemed like as soon as I noticed his absence, he was back. Baby daddy walked in holding a card and a statue of a black family. It had a man, a woman, a son, and a daughter. The card said, we will have a family. He passed out pink cigars. Okay, y'all. Chapter 7. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I just always have faith. Okay. Ready? After a few hours, we left the hospital. Yep, they sent us home that night. My breasts were engorged. My stomach was swollen. I still felt pregnant, but I had no baby. Riding down the road, we were both really quiet. What could we say? I checked the messages on my phone. I had some auditions for a pregnant woman. It felt like a stab in the chest. All I could think of was, I'm not pregnant anymore and I don't have my baby. I was hurt. I was angry. I was confused. I was numb. But that didn't stop me from yelling at myself in my mind. Why didn't I call the doctor sooner? I didn't know. Why didn't I know? When we got home, there was baby stuff all over the place. Baby magazines, baby books, baby clothes, but no baby. I could bend over. Oh God, I could bend over. My whole life, things worked out for me. I made A's in school and I was doing well out in LA as an actress. I was successful with pretty much everything. I knew that was because of my relationship with God and my angels. I always had a lot of faith and I listened to that still small voice inside. God loved me. My angels took care of me. I was divinely guided and protected. So why did God take my baby? Did this happen because I had abortions? Was it because we weren't married? A few people whispered there was probably something wrong with the baby, but no, I saw her. She was perfect. Others advised, don't question. We don't understand God's ways. I said, whatever. I needed to know. And I kept asking and asking and asking, believing that God was going to answer me. My angels talked to me all the time when I was a little girl. They came to me in dreams. They told me what to do. I did it, and it always worked out. Why didn't this work out? I just couldn't understand. I started questioning everything. Was I a bad person? Was I being punished? No, I answered, God doesn't punish people. God, I said as I hit my chest, this is Tangie. We're team players. I do good things when nobody's looking. Why would you take my baby? I was no longer my happy-go-lucky self. I stayed in the house a lot. I had always been known to spread love and happiness. I never said hello because years ago I realized I was greeting people saying hello. My greeting was heaven high. Right at that moment, I wasn't greeting anyone with anything. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to act. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to smile. People thought of me as a light. I wasn't a light anymore. I was a shadow of my former self. A couple of months had gone by, and Anne, my agent at the time, knew I wanted to run from LA. I love her so much. She wanted to help me. So to get me out the house, she sent me on an audition. I went by myself. Outside in the fresh air, the world was so bright, and I felt horrible. I needed help. I couldn't call on God. I couldn't call on my angels. What is a world without God and my angels? My baby girl was gone. My mother lived in another state and my baby daddy was mourning. Eventually, I made it to my audition. It was for a show called Girlfriends. I walked in the studio and these young girls were in the waiting area talking and giggling. Everything they said bothered me. They were talking about makeup, hair, jobs, men. It all sounded so stupid and useless. It meant nothing. I wanted to scream, "Shut up! I just lost my baby." But I didn't. I just sat there. Casting called me in the room. They seemed happy to see me. I knew these people. They knew me. The producer was smiling. "Hey, Tangie, how are you today?" And I felt like screaming, "I'm horrible. I just lost my baby and I don't want to be here." But instead, without any emotion and with dead eyes, I very flatly said, "I'm fine." The Tangie they knew never walked in the room. Chapter 8. God is with me. Oh, this is too much, y'all. This tearing and stuff. Maybe it's good. Maybe I need to let it out. I'm going with it. Whatever. Okay, 8. God is with me. Time was a blur. It was the same thing day after day. Baby daddy and I were just in the house, sad, together. My breasts were engorged. They hurt so bad. They were filled with milk. No baby to suckle. Months went by and I was still in pain, quiet, hurting, not smiling, and constantly asking God why. My friends and family were as comforting as they could be, but nothing they said, sent, or did could penetrate the pain. God didn't answer right away, but God always answers prayers. It was 6 months before I heard him. I was standing in my green room talking loud. "Why, God? Why? Why did you take my baby?" And all of a sudden, y'all, I heard this voice. It was clear as day, and it said, "She did what you asked her to do. She just didn't do it the way you wanted her to. She made her father want children." What? Wow. Yes, she did. He did want babies now. And when I heard that, I saw the darkness. I looked down and my whole body was covered with like this dark cloud. But the darkness was slowly moving up and out. It left my toes first, and then it went up my feet and my calves, my thighs, my vagina, my belly, my breast, my neck, my face, my head, until I could breathe again. And I didn't even know I had stopped. I was back. Heaven high, I was back. And I could smile again. And then I heard that same voice say, "She was a highly elevated soul, and she has been here many times. Each time she has experienced a really tough life, so that she didn't have to come back, but she chose to come back so that she could bless her family and so that she could experience love in the womb. And for that, she chose me." That's when the realization hit me. My baby wanted to experience love in the womb, and she chose me. I understood. I felt so much better. I was happy again. God wasn't angry with me. God used me to love this soul. I was grateful. I kept asking and I found the blessing. And once I got clear, I remembered the dream of my son. And while standing in the green room with happy tears in my eyes, I exclaimed with pure joy, "I'm going to have a baby boy." Now that God and I are team players again, I decide I'm going to help him. So I start going to see all these doctors trying to figure out what happened so I could fix it before my son came, but none of them knew. They didn't know, and they thought I was crazy because I kept happily explaining. My baby girl was stillborn. It was spiritual. I asked my baby girl to let her father know it's going to be okay to have children. She did that, and he wants them now. And she wanted to experience love in the womb. She did that too. They looked at me like I was crazy. Thinking back on it, off from the book for a second, now just imagining me saying all that, I know they thought I was crazy. Finally, we found this fibroid specialist. He very nonchalantly said, you have a fibroid the size of a 13-week pregnancy. If you get pregnant again, the same thing will probably happen. If you take the fibroid out, you'll probably get scar tissue and not be able to get pregnant. But if you believe that God is with you and Dr. Dewani is fine with it, I say go for it. I was like, oh, well, God is with me. I told baby daddy what the voice said. Now, while he did listen, I don't know if it eased his pain quite like it eased mine, but he was certainly trying to make a baby. He was constantly. Now he wanted us to have one and he was determined. And when we found out we were pregnant with our son, we were ecstatic. Because my doctor wasn't quite sure why our baby girl was stillborn, just to be safe, at around 12 weeks into my pregnancy, Dr. Dewana gave me a cerclage. Now, this is a procedure where the doctor stitches a woman's cervix together, and it helps hold the baby in if the woman has previously given birth before 34 weeks of pregnancy or has a short cervix. So it made us all a little more relaxed. Again, I love being pregnant. This time my stomach didn't have to stretch from the fibroid because Pebbles had already stretched it out. I had no pain at all. Dr. Dewani put me on bed rest and I found out that my baby daddy could cook. What? I had been doing all the cooking for years. I had no idea he could cook. I couldn't believe it. At around 37 weeks into my pregnancy, they took the cerclage out. Dr. Dewani asked if I wanted any medicine when they did this. I thought the baby was going to fall out my vagina once the stitches were gone, and I wanted him to be born with his mind clear, so I declined any sedation. Our son did not pop right out, and let me tell you, getting those stitches removed without medication hurt. Baby boy stayed in my womb for 3 whole weeks after the cerclage was removed. Our son Rock was born on his due date of March the 18th, 10 days after his dad's birthday. I delivered him vaginally at the All Natural Women's Birthing Center. Fibroid tumor, the size of a 13-week pregnancy, still there. Now, when you have a baby in a birthing center, you don't spend the night. So a few hours after his birth, they sent us home. My mother had flown in for Rock's birth. We were all riding back home in the car, me, my man, my son, and my mother. And it felt strange to have this whole new human in our care. In the car ride home, I looked in my baby daddy's eyes and very intently said, you know, I love you, right? And he said, yes. I said, you know, I'll do anything for you, right? And he nodded, yes. I paused and said, I ain't doing this no more. Chapter 9, trust that still small voice. Breastfeeding, I quickly got back to my old size. My son and his dad and I were enjoying life. Then when Rock was around 2 years of age, I started having back pains. I was hurting really bad. We went to a chiropractor and he asked, you think you might be pregnant? I was like, no. Baby daddy proudly spoke up saying, yeah, she could be because I've been hitting that. I shook my head and rolled my eyes at both of them. The doctor said he needed to make sure I wasn't pregnant before he could adjust me. I had to take a pregnancy test and he would wait while baby daddy ran to the store to get one. I was so irritated. I thought, this is stupid. Run and get a pregnancy test. Fix my back. Baby daddy came back after about 15 minutes saying he forgot his wallet. Then he ran off again. Ugh! Now I had to wait longer and the doctor waited. I never heard anything like this before in my life. And I sat in that office fuming, waiting with my back hurting and my son playing at my feet. Finally, he got back the second time. Rock goes with me to the bathroom and I'm mumbling to myself while peeing on the stick. This is so dumb. Men are knuckleheads. Got me taking a pregnancy test. I don't need to take no pregnancy test. I looked at the stick. I was wrong. I was pregnant. I wasn't ready to be pregnant. I was down to a size 2, feeling cute, had my figure back, had my man, had my baby. I was in the flow. We made a visit to my high-risk doctor so we could make sure the baby was okay and see if there were any preventive measures we needed to take. Dr. Dewani checked me and said, no, just live. It's too early to be concerned. As time went on, I started to get used to the idea of having another baby. Then that same voice that told me why Pebbles had chosen me spoke to me again. This time it spoke about this baby and it said, she's a girl child and she's a happy spirit and she's not supposed to be here right now, but she'll be back. So I started telling people, I don't think this baby's going to stay. And they would say, no, Tangie, don't say that. Keep the faith. I told my mother, she said, no, baby, we got to believe. But it wasn't that I didn't believe or have faith. The voice had told me, and I trust that still small voice. So when I went to the bathroom at 14 weeks and felt something drop out my vagina into the toilet, I wasn't sad as I could have been, but I was sad. My faith was holding on to the last part of what the voice said. She will be back. So I looked around and I grabbed an ink pen and I used it to pick her little sack up out the toilet. And I held it in the air and I said aloud, "You weren't pleased with your accommodations, huh? Okay, well, if you're a jokester, you'll come back in June." We didn't force it, we just lived. One day, baby daddy and I were riding through the hills. Those twists and turns that don't usually bother me started, and I got nauseous. We both knew. This time, being nauseous made me happy because baby girl was coming back. The midwife I used for Rock's delivery was no longer in the area. I got online and found two other certified midwives. This time, I told them Dr. Dewani was my high risk doctor. I was 40. Definitely high risk, but very confident that God got me. On the day of Stone's birth, the two midwives were in our home. My sister friend Fatima was acting as my doula. Baby daddy was playing Erica Badu through the speakers, and my mother was worrying, praying, and entertaining her grandson, who was having a great time. We had rented a large tub. Our daughter was going to have a water birth, we thought. I was having contractions in the water, but she wouldn't come down. She kept crawling back up in my cervix. Eventually, the midwives made me get out the tub. And in the tub, side note, I'd be in the tub in the water and I'd be waiting for a contraction. I said, "Oh, does this make it better?" Oh, yeah, a little bit. um, the midwives broke my water and had me move around so that I could find the position that was most comfortable. I tried everything, including sitting on the toilet and squatting. I settled on the floor in our bedroom, and one of the midwives looked me in the eyes and very sternly said, "Tangie, you can push this baby out now, or you can go to the hospital and get a C-section." The intense way she said it let me know I need to push right then. So I pushed as hard as I could, and out came my baby girl. I was amazed at how calm and present I was. I felt so relaxed. I felt like I could get up and wash the dishes. I didn't, but I felt like I could. While my stomach was growing, I constantly told my son, who was 3 at the time, "There's a baby in mommy's belly." And when I went into labor, my mother had taken him for a walk. Luckily, he came back in the bedroom just in time to see the baby Stone come out of my vagina and into the world. Rock was so excited. I was laying on the floor holding my daughter, and as she latched onto my breast, Rock walked over and he stared at his baby sister with a look of amazement and pure delight, and he pointed his little finger at her and he exclaimed with wonder, "Mommy, baby." Rock's baby daddy's birthday is March the 8th. Rock's birthday is March the 18th. I was born on June the 4th. Stone Love entered the world on her due date of June the 9th. And yes, she is a jokester. Chapter 10. When we look beyond the physical, we see there's more to having a baby than just getting pregnant, giving birth, and raising children. We are carrying souls who have come for a purpose. These souls chose us before jumping into our bodies. They needed what we had to offer them at this point in their evolutionary journey. If we look hard enough, we will see that we needed something for them too. As humans, we tend to think that life has to go a certain way in order for it to be considered good. It doesn't. You say, "But my child was in so much pain." Maybe they came to experience being loved through pain. They could have come to bring the family together or to simply clear karmic debt. Their purpose here could have been to teach, to spread love, to prepare the womb, to wake us up to life, to experience being born, to help doctors create something new. We don't know. It could have been anything. But listen, it's extremely beautiful on the other side. So even if they didn't come to stay, they're good. It's a gift being chosen to carry a soul, whether you have had a miscarriage, a stillborn, a baby, or even an abortion. Yes, I believe women who have had abortions were matched with souls looking for a karmic cleansing. It happens instantly that way. God is on our side. So, no beating yourself up for anything. Forgive yourself. All things work together for good. No matter what your story is, you were chosen, you are loved. Those souls continue to feel your love. No, they may not have experienced the life you dreamt for them, but please trust they experienced a beautiful life. They heard your voice, they danced in your womb, they tasted the food you ate, they listened to the music, they felt your joys, they heard your sorrows. And to help you ease your pain, they sent you a branch with no leaves. There are no mistakes. You are eternally chosen. Chapter 11. Okay, y'all ready? Mm. Hard times are a gift. I finally understand my vision with my Aunt Dear and Uncle Sonny. They were giving me a foreshadowing of what was to come. A branch with no leaves was presented to me on that exquisite platter. For all intents and purposes, most would think there was no use for it, arrogantly asking, what can I do with a branch with no leaves? But there are uses. It can be used as firewood, it can be decoration, it can hold up a plant, it can be played with by a child. Lack of leaves on a branch does not equal lack of life. I now know that whether my child is with me for only one day in the womb or it exits the womb and lives to be 150 years old on earth, for that particular soul, both experiences represent a full lifetime. Pebbles coming through me was a gift. Thank you, baby girl. Everything, every moment has a gift, just like me and baby daddy. We have purpose as a couple. Now we have purpose as individuals. Back in 2000, when I was walking through the house talking to my unborn child, I specifically said, go to your father. If he had not been her father, she would never have appeared to him in his dreams. But she did. Our children, Pebbles, Rock, and Stone, chose the two of us as their parents. They did that. While Rock and Stone were still young, baby daddy and I broke up. It was not because we didn't love each other. So we had a really tough time. I congratulate people who are strong enough to end a romantic relationship with someone they love because they know in their spirit it is for the highest divine good of all involved. Even though it's the best decision, it still takes a lot of strength to make that choice. And after we had been apart a few months, I booked a show working in New Mexico in plain sight. For Mother's Day, I flew in my mother, Rock and Stone, and she was taking this picture of me and the babies. And Rock kept holding something in my face. And while I was smiling for the picture, I slowly pushed down whatever it was. And in a sing-songy voice, I said to my 6-year-old son, I said, no, baby, you don't want to cover mommy's face when we're taking a picture. And then I looked, y'all. Rock was holding a branch with no leaves. It was exactly like the one in my vision. I couldn't believe it. It was confirmation. I had made the right choices. I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Our daughter being stillborn, our frustration with each other, our breakup, they were all gifts on earth as it is in heaven. Today, I can handle anything because no matter how bad or barren it may seem, I know whatever is happening in some way is a gift. I just have to remember to look for it. And yes, sometimes I forget. After my stillborn, I questioned everything I knew myself to be. I thought God was punishing me, or maybe he was punishing baby daddy. God wasn't punishing anyone. He ain't got time for that. We beat ourselves up thinking we have upset God and or are being penalized. Playing cards doesn't make you a bad person. Having a drink doesn't mean you're horrible. Wearing lipstick is not going to send you to hell. God ain't tripping. It's your thoughts that cause you to suffer. Change the way you think about it. God loves us. Listen to your spirit or your gut or whatever it is that God uses to communicate with you, and you can't go wrong. It doesn't have to make sense to other people. This is between you and your Lord. Now, my faith has always been strong, but I had never experienced anything this painful. This experience blessed me exponentially because now I know that I know that I know God got me. All that stuff I was talking before, it kind of came through me. Now it comes from me, and my faith is even stronger. But get this, the last part of my vision confused me for a while. Why did all those flowers come from me? What did it mean? And all while I was writing this book, I was thinking, maybe the flowers are coming soon. Look, I'm thinking maybe the flowers is a series or something. I don't know. I'm sure I'll know when it happens. It happened. Now, my vision with my aunt and uncle was in 2000. At this time, it was 2023. January 27, 2023 at 8:02 a.m., I had a dream. My kids were playing in my Aunt Louisa's house, and a lot of the family were there. And Rock and Stone, both looking like teenagers, like they did at this time, were running around with my daughter, also a teenager. And in my dream, I thought, nice, my kids are playing with my daughter. And I was happily watching them play. And then in the dream, that voice said, give your daughter a hug. I dream all the time, but I don't ever remember that still small voice talking to me and telling me to do something in a dream. But I did what it said. I held out my hands, motioning for her to come to me, and she did. And she looked like Rock and Stone. She was shorter than Rock, but taller than Stone, and she was dressed like I like to dress. She had a little crop top with all her stomach out and some low-waisted jeans. And when I put my arms around her, I felt what seemed like braille on her belly. And I looked and it was a pretty design. And I asked her, what was it? And I don't remember if she opened her mouth or not, but I clearly heard her say, oh, that's my birthmark. It's flowers. Then she ran off to play with her brother and sister. And I was saddened because I thought, this is my daughter. How did I not know her birthmark were flowers? But the voice said, it's okay. She was taken from you early. How could you know? And then I woke up. And as my brain processed what had just happened, it was like this peaceful feeling started to wash over me. Flowers. Remember the vision with the flowers? My baby coming to me with flowers on her body gave me the strength to keep going. She gave me courage to write my truth, to share with y'all. She infused me with power so that I could write through my tears. And this was the final piece of the puzzle. Those flowers weren't just about me. The flowers on her body in my dream let me know that this book will bless somebody. And I hope that someone is you. Pebbles let me know she was, still is, and always will be with us, just as your baby or babies will always be with you. And after this dream, the words just flew onto the pages. Chapter 12, I think this is the last one. The flowers are here. Roses, daisies, lilies, daffodils, sunflower, birds of paradise, tulips, lotuses. I don't know what a branch with no leaves represents in your life. It could be any number of things. It could be barren times. It could be hard times. It could be death. It could be pain. It could be sickness. It could be suffering, sadness, and the list goes on. But what I do know is whatever ails you is a gift. Hard times are a gift, and there's always a blessing in it. So from this day forward, let every flower you see be a reminder that you were chosen for the blessing that is coming through your gift. Allow yourself to grieve, to hurt, to get angry, to scream, to cry, to yell it out, to get mad at God. He can take it. You got to let those emotions out. But once they're released, take your eye off the problem and put it on the blessing. Stay open. There's a blessing in your story. In life, when I allow myself to be bogged down with worry and sadness, it was much more difficult for me to think. I can't hear my angels. I don't remember my dreams. It's hard for me to manifest. And because of my experiences with Pebbles, I now know it's important for me to feel pain and sadness. I love being happy. I'm a human being, and experiencing all human emotions is divine. So I don't stay in that sad place, and neither should you. Everything comes to pass. And you remember when I was mourning the fact that I had had a baby, and when the darkness came up out my body and I could breathe again, that's when I could hear. That's when I remembered the dream of my son. We got to keep ourselves cleaned out. And we'll talk about how to do that later. Oh, look, I talk about it here. So I'm going to share a few things with you that help me when I need me a pick me up. Putting my feet in the ocean, listening to some 70s feel good music, helping someone, laughing with my kids, riding my bike, walking my dog, watching a good movie, saying a prayer I know by heart, reading my book, journaling, taking a nap, getting a massage, making love. But there's one thing that I do on a regular, and I would love for you to do it. So, what I did is I added some journal pages in the back of the book so that you can journal every morning. You can wake up and write down 10 things that you're grateful for. And another thing that I love, where let me find it. Oh, yep, look. Lastly, at night before you fall asleep, allow your mind to dream. I want you to play the what if game. And the way you play the what if game is you say, what if? And what if makes us, it prevents us from putting up the opposition. Then we can dream like what if I woke up tomorrow and somebody called me and said, Tangie, remember that show you did? We want to start running it again. And we already got 10 episodes. So we just want to pay you so and so amount of dollars. Wouldn't that be a blessing? Tangie, remember the commercial you and your daughter had? I want to start running that again. Tangie, guess what? Oh, I was thinking about all kind of good stuff. I had to stop. Okay, let me finish. Let me get back to the book. But do that. Play the what if game. Let me read. Okay, you can say your what if aloud or to yourself. Most importantly, I need you to allow your body to either see in your mind's eye what you are imagining or allow yourself to feel what you are imagining, just as though it's really happening. Let that peace wash over you. Allow yourself to feel good and then fall asleep. And try to do that at least once a week. And watch how your faith grows and how your life changes. And I'm excited for you. You may even decide to implement these practices for a lifetime. So I'm giving thanks in advance for your blessings. The last part, pebbles, rock, and stone. Look, in the story of David and Goliath, that little pebble was the faith that knocked Goliath, fear, to the ground. Our sweet baby girl Pebbles did the same for us. She made all fear go away while also paving the way for rock and stone. Baby daddy and I were able to move forward with faith, and I gave birth to our son, Rock. Doctors thought it wasn't possible. Upon this rock, I built my church. Whether the soul chooses to leave before exiting the womb or is born and lives on earth for the next 100 years outside the womb, both scenarios are a full lifetime. I gave thanks for that knowledge. I gave thanks for the lessons. I showed gratitude for the love, and our daughter Stone was born. Believe in God's promises and plan for goodness in your life. Anything is possible. And remember, all God's promises are written in stone. And that's the whole book. Y'all made it. That's the whole book. That was good for me, y'all. Y'all got any questions? Put them in here now. Ah, that was really good for me because that was the toughest time. Whoosh. Because I didn't have my angels and I didn't have me. And I remember when I told my mother, I said, because she didn't come out when I had Pebbles. She didn't come out because she didn't understand. She just thought I was pregnant, and then I wasn't pregnant anymore. She never had a stillborn or a miscarriage. And so when I told her, I said, Mother, I'm so proud of me because I never tried to kill myself. That's when she realized the type of pain that I was in. And but it's good because it's made me stronger. And it's a full moon tonight, y'all. And I feel like since my mother has passed, my life has shifted a lot. And my girlfriend came over yesterday, Keena, who I love so much. And Keena was like, Tangie, you're doing all the things that you said you wanted to do, all of them, all of them. And she said you would start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. And now you're doing it. And I'm so proud of you. And that journey has been tough, but it's been a lot of faith, y'all. A lot of faith. And I'm standing on my faith right now, knowing that I am one with God. I am one with all things. I am one with all light, with all life. And in the middle of this journey, when it seemed like nothing was happening the way I needed it to happen, and my life shifted, I was like, I thought it was over. I thought I had, done wrong. And I was like, the first half of my life is going to be great, and the second half is going to be sad. And my situation didn't really change. I changed my mind. And once I changed my mind, my life changed, and to the physical, to the physical world, in the physical world or whatever, the testimonies that people understand, regular folk, haven't happened yet. And it's still very hard. It's hard. It's very, very hard. But it's not because I know God got me. You know what I'm saying? And so now that I have jumped back in this mold, that last episode, was it the last episode, that sister where she was talking about how everything is just energy? And I started thinking about our president and some of the things that he does, and different examples of how God doesn't always reward us for taking little so somebody else can have more, being nice, letting people go first, sharing everything, giving everything away. All this stuff I've given away, because I've always wanted to bless the world. And but I've learned that I got to take care of me too. How about that? And then with these guests that I've been having coming on the show, I'm learning it's me knowing that I'm worthy. And not because of anything that I've done. We all are worthy. We all are. And so the harder it gets, the bigger I dream. And it makes me feel like God wanted me to match what he has for me. And so I'm excited about it all. And I'm through. Y'all got anything to say? Let me see. No comment. Y'all do have comments. Look at there. Let's see what y'all are saying. Good evening. God bless you. Thank you. My sister-in-law had 3 stillborns. I can't believe I missed this. Hey, Sonia Marie Royale. Hey, Tangie. I'm great. Aw. Hey, BFF. Look at their beautiful perspective. Thank you. Manifesting. Excellent. God loves you, sweet sister. Thank you, sis. God loves me. Yes. Angela, heaven high, sis. Imagifesting. Yeah, see? So y'all know who I'm talking about. These are my sisters on the show. So, yeah. And I think that's why I could read this book now, because I've been learning so much from y'all. Angela Dione Anderson, go to her YouTube page. Every night I play that Echoes of Love. I don't even think I've made it through all of them. Sometimes I only make it through 3, but it soothes me. On Mondays, I watch Sonia Marie's, her weekly review. There are things that I do to feed myself, and I journal and I play the what if game. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for, thank you all so much for helping me remember who I am. And that's what this podcast is about. And who knew that I needed it so much? So thank you for helping me. And Jean July and Miss Jean too, her episode. Y'all see Miss Jean episode where my mother and my aunt and my aunt dear, who I talked about, everybody in my story came through. Where all of them came through. Oh goodness. And she talked to me too. This is my team right here, y'all. These are my people. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful because I have truly needed all of you. You have no idea how your word or your post or your video or your song or your gift or whatever has truly blessed me. I am open, I am energy, I am listening, and I am moving forward with divine expectation. And I love all of y'all. And I just thank you. I'm so happy y'all listen. Okay, enough tears, enough crying. Thank you. Y'all don't know how happy y'all made me. Ah, see, that's feeling worthy again. Knowing my worth. Knowing my worth. Okay, so I love all of you. I love all of you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Y'all want to talk about anything, let me know. If anybody wants to come on, let me know. I can send you an invite real quick, or I'm going to tune out and go meditate. Did y'all like the book? Did y'all like the book? What do you think about my testimony? I learned things reading it. I think I might listen to this recording and I might add some of the things that I said, re-edit with a whole nother cover, because this is on Amazon and we're boycotting Amazon. And there's more to the story that I can add now. And yeah, I think I might do that. I think I might do that. I love y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Who is Demetrius? Thank you, girl. Thank you. Who is Sambista 11? Okay, y'all don't have to tell me, but I love all of y'all. So love, 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 love. Good night. Thank you for shining your light on me. And I'm going to sleep. I'm going to meditate. God bless you too. All right. I love y'all. Okay. Bye-bye. Y'all please tag and share. Okay. Bye. And